First of all, welcome to Pilar's Corner. Second of all, today on this episode, we're talking to Arielle and we do her astrology chart. We talk about the different houses. We learn how to look at an astrological wheel, which is something I feel like is very important that everyone should essentially be able to discern, regardless if you know much about the intricacies and nuances of the signs and certain planets and certain houses. You're going to be able to extrapolate a lot from the experience of watching or listening to this. But something for sure is you're going to learn how to look at your own astrological wheel and discern right from the beginning where your placements are. Are they left of the meridian? Are they right of the meridian? Are they north of the horizon line? Are they south of the horizon line? We're going to get into what those things mean and make reading an astrological wheel just a little bit easier. Okay? Because I know it can look like someone vomited on a circle. Okay? So super excited for y'all to listen to this beautiful conversation between two very deeply spiritual, educated people who bounce ideas off of each other. And I'm really excited because I want to hear what your interpretations are too. At the end of the day, we're all living an individual human experience. Your experience matters, is all I gotta say. All right. I love you. You're amazing. You're awesome. You are already perfect. And you got this. Enjoy.
For a second, I thought this one was mine.
That's so funny. Oh my God,
so
so
funny.
similar. Yeah, I love it.
That's hilarious. This is Arielle. Is it I was going to ask you.
Yeah. It's like I always say like the pirate.
Arielle. How often do you have to correct people on your name?
Pretty often.
Pretty often. And you do. You do correct people.
I do. You know, I didn't used to.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And I've started to because
I love that.
maybe it's being in my 40s.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like
You're like, I've been nice enough.
the era of nice is
Yeah.
over. No, I'm kidding.
Which is honestly, it's so funny because I was like, I only know you from one night out.
Yeah.
Right. And through the glowing reviews and of our mutual friend, which was super cool. I thought that was it was a really fun night out. We don't have to say who, but we were able to support a newly happily divorcee, I would say.
I love it so much.
Yes.
It was so great. And
It was-
so, yeah, just like women supporting women and then being in that environment of just like her liberation and basking in that. And
Yeah.
like, I know what that experience is like as
Yeah.
a divorcee myself
Yeah.
and how important it is to be surrounded by community and
Mhm.
positivity during that time.
Mhm.
It's such a pivotal time. So yeah.
How long were you divorced, or how long were you married for before you got divorced?
We were together 8 years. I think we were married 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a child. It's the duration of a child. It's
Yeah.
not a blip.
It's
right?
not a blip. No,
blip.
no. It was definitely a chunk of my life. You know, I try not to live in regret.
Yeah.
For me, the energy of regret comes when I'm not learning the lessons, when I'm
yeah.
repeating patterns.
100%.
That's when it's like, okay, we could do better.
Yeah. So something's going on. What's
Yeah.
happening?
But like that chapter was so pivotal in my growth as a person and becoming who I am now
Mhm.
that I'm grateful for that chapter and I'm grateful for all that I
100%.
learned. And I'm glad that's not my life anymore.
And I'm glad it's over.
It's over. Yeah. And then the last, 2026 we broke up. We were a casualty of the pandemic.
Oh, wow. Oh,
So 2020.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like the thing, like the
That was the
catalyst.
thing?
No. I mean, it was building and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
catalyst.
Oh, yeah. It blew up.
I mean, I think I do believe that like during the pandemic, like all constructs, whether it was relationships, businesses, social norms, whatever,
Everything.
if it wasn't solid,
Yes. Correct.
it collapsed.
100%.
And then on the flip side, it solidified things that were strong
Absolutely.
already.
Absolutely.
And so I saw this like really interesting pattern of like on like the relationship side, so many of these relationships that were on thin ice for a long time,
Yes.
getting to that point of
Yes.
no return.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, even there's a lot of things we could even look at astrologically and like what was happening around that time.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah.
what's so cool is just thinking about how I feel like a lot of what the pandemic was doing was also preparing us for Saturn and Neptune entering Aries and like
Yes.
finalizing the Pisces era and
Yep.
just like that complete sense of oneness, because a lot of us were living dual lives
Yeah.
of like either hyper focusing on one area and abandoning the rest, right? And just
Yeah.
kind of like it was either work, 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 or like relationship, 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 or like if you had that, you
Mhm.
were challenged to the whole.
Yeah.
You were challenged to see the whole before the finishing out. It's like, this is it. This is the time.
Yeah.
You know, like this is the end of the cycle. So either you take care of it now,
Mm-hmm.
or that's it. You're going to be fucked for a while.
Yeah. It's so true. I've been thinking about those transits a lot recently just because Saturn's about to move out of Pisces into Aries.
Mhm.
And so sort of reflecting for me personally with my chart, like what does that mean?
Mhm.
And it's been, and you know, and then also globally, like on the macro level too.
Yeah.
It's just very interesting to think about that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
much.
So much.
It's always going to be a tangent with me, by the way.
Oh,
you're like a
welcome to-
neurospicy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my neurospicy is autism, ADHD.
Okay.
So and astrology happens to be one of my special interests.
Yeah, nice. This
So-
is perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Your
so,
tips align so great
yeah,
with my
yeah.
neurodivergencies.
I know, it's like all in there.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I see a lot of people who like entered the spiritual community and really, you know, have struggled classically with neurodivergence, but didn't know they were struggling with neurodivergence, and spirituality really being an outlet to
Yeah.
like help accept and understand feeling different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are some experiences where, you know, the shadow side of that is, you know, the shadow side of spirituality is where it becomes this vibe of religion where it goes, something is unaligned within you, you need to align yourself, but you're like, I'm trying. When in reality, it's like, no, there is a neurospicy component. There is
Definitely.
a neurological component. And like, it's not just you haven't ascended far enough, right? Right.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Because it's no ascending from neurodivergence. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the big myths of like curing
I
yourself.
love that. Yes, 100%.
Like, no, we are, it's managing and living and embracing. Like,
1,000%.
you know, and so I think that's been a big lesson for me in my life because my neurodivergence is ADHD and dyslexia.
Okay.
And I was diagnosed when I was 10
Okay.
and didn't learn how to read or write till I was 10.
Wow.
Like, it's been a very crazy trip. That's a whole conversation in of itself. But
Yeah.
there's been, these past 5 years have also been a really big growth period for me of accepting my neurodivergence on a really deep spiritual way and seeing how it's impacted so many parts of my life.
Yes.
Because there are so many, what's the word I'm looking for? Comorbidities that come with
Yes.
specifically ADHD, which is like my main thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm like, oh my God, it has impacted, you know, my struggle with like substance abuse and
Yes.
addiction and me
Yes.
getting sober and all of that
Yes.
stuff. It's affected my, you know, RSD, like, which is, I'm blanking on what it stands for. But basically,
Yeah.
it's rejection sensitivity disorder.
Mhm.
We're more highly sensitive to things like that. And so like
Mhm.
my imposter syndrome, my pressure on myself to have to be a certain way, to be
Yeah.
a
High
square.
performing,
Yeah, or
yes.
be a square when I'm a fucking circle.
And the high performance, like all of these,
Yeah.
you know, pressures that we put on ourselves that are impacted through the external. Absolutely.
So many things. There was an amazing woman who wrote the book. Wow, my brain today.
It's okay.
ADHD for Smartass Women.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah.
amazing. I was on
Okay.
her podcast.
Oh, awesome.
And Tracy Otsuka is her name.
Okay.
And this book changed my life because it impacted me not just as like person who is neurodivergent, but as a woman.
Yes.
And the specific experience that we
Mhm.
have in a society where a lot of women now are putting so much pressure on ourselves to perform, to be sort of this idea of patriarchy or masculinity by like stepping into the world that way instead of honoring our femininity. So
I was just
yeah.
talking to somebody about how underrepresented groups, once they become more represented, or once they have more power, they actually mimic the who their overlords were.
Yeah.
So they repeat those patterns.
Yes, absolutely.
Because that's the only model that as a people or a person that you have. It's the same, you know, just even looking at the family nucleus.
Definitely.
Right? You're working to undo patterns. Obviously, on a
yes.
larger scale, it takes a lot longer, but we can't help but immediately go into this, you know, the future is female. And it's like, but what about males too, right? Like, what about our male
Yeah.
counterparts? Like,
Yeah.
the future is equal.
The future is, I mean, the
Yeah,
whole school
yeah.
of feminism that it's like,
Yes.
kill the men or like, you know, whatever.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like,
It
no, that's
is-
not the point. It's missing the whole fucking point.
And that's the patriarchal mindset.
Like,
Because, and it comes from,
colonialization.
yes, and it comes from a very wounded place.
It does.
Which is part of the grief process. I even look at it, looking back at like that micro scale with the family, where, you know, the first thing we want to do is cut off our family. The first
Yeah.
thing we want to do is just cut them off, just 100%. And while, yes, we want to blame them for everything, I think I've met a few unicorns, and when I say few, like 2 people who are like had a genuinely beautiful upbringing, and I was like, what was like I'm so fascinated by that. But for the most part, we're insatiable beings. We
Yeah.
are meant to feel pain and meant to feel vulnerable and meant to feel you know, disappointed, and we're meant to feel trauma at some point because we're raised by imperfect beings.
Exactly.
So at one point we want to go, that's it, I'm done. We want to blame whoever that overlord was, but it's only the first part in the healing process.
Absolutely.
And then you realize, oh my God, through your own journey, you realize, I am them too. I'm you know, I'm not void of free will here, and I'm not void of imperfection, right?
Definitely.
I'm an imperfect being myself.
Yeah.
And so how do we create acceptance within ourselves while also creating boundaries?
That's so
right?
huge. I mean, yeah, because it's a process, I think, from acceptance, then we can actually have healthy integration and balance of like the different parts.
Absolutely.
There's a book. There's always going to be a book with me.
Please.
That's like, that changed my life. And what you're saying really speaks to, which is Maureen Murdoch's The Heroine's Journey.
Okay.
And
Love that.
basically, she came up with the concept of the heroine's journey in response to Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. Which that paradigm and narrative is all around men, around the ideals of masculinity, around the ideals of patriarchy, about going out into the world and finding the dragon and slaying the dragon and being the hero and all that.
Yes, and then being revered and being like everyone putting you on a pedestal and being the
and
being served.
Exactly. And in the heroine's journey, it's a very different
I'm getting chills.
arc.
Yeah.
It's not about going big. It's about first facing the parts of ourselves that have internalized the hero's journey and the pressure.
Yeah.
And then we go on an underworld journey instead. So it's a deep, I just gave myself chills by saying that, because it's just like, it's so, because I've been living this, like I've been living this, especially like the last 5 years. I feel like this has been my life of like this deep internal journey of facing our wounds and facing ourself, and then, you know, and facing what she calls like the archetype of the wounded mother. So the mother that we reject in the response to these masculine patriarchal ideals.
Yes. Wow.
So we have to heal this part of ourself in relationship with that.
Yes.
And then we start to rebuild from there. We start to this process of integration again to become whole. But you can't like bypass. You can't spiritually bypass or anything by going big. You have to go deep within. So it's beautiful. Highly recommend.
All about shadow work.
It's all about that. And like in mythology, there's the goddess Inanna, and she she goes on an underworld journey. It's known as Inanna's Descent. And she goes on this deep underworld journey to see her sister, who's really represented in, Jungian thought as like her other half, her shadow.
Oh, wow.
Ereshkigal. So she goes on this journey because she's called onto the underworld.
Yeah.
And it's this synthesis that happens of like union and healing that has to happen, and shedding.
Yes.
She has to shed all her clothes and her shackles and her rings and all of her adornments to be naked and to basically die to be reborn. So the heroine's journey is really this like phoenix journey.
Yes.
And I feel like that is something that we are so not privy to in this culture of like consumerism and capitalism and winning.
Yes.
And
colonialism.
Yeah, exactly. All those things, like we are so not.
It's a perversion of the free market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, that was a tangent off of ADHD, which is a tangent off of astrology.
To me, that made perfect sense.
You know what? No, I always find my way back. That's my thing. It's like I may go there, but I will. It's called Adderall.
It's really fascinating because a lot of what you talk about are themes that I saw in your chart.
Oh, I'm so fascinated to hear your perspective on that.
Because I know, I mean, obviously, like if one is prone to like being open to spirituality, eventually you're going to get your reading done, right?
Yes.
Your astrological reading. Usually through Western astrology.
I've had a Vedic reading as well in India in 2024, which was fascinating.
Yes.
Especially because I'm like, different sun sign, different rising. Everything's different.
Yeah.
But it still made sense.
Shockingly makes sense.
It literally still made sense. Like the grand themes of my life were still the same. I ended that. I was like, wow.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah. The biggest, and just for viewers and listeners, the main difference between Vedic and Western astrology is the point of perspective. So in Western astrology, when you look, especially when we think of the wheel, and even if you don't know much or can navigate yourself around the wheel, there's always a dot in the middle. The dot in the middle is Earth. And we orient all of the constellations and everything around the perspective that Earth is the center. So it's from our perspective looking out and everything around us. Vedic astrology just puts Earth where it is in the universe. So it's literally the opposite. So it's looking down on Earth as it relates to everything where it's supposed to be, because Earth is not the center, right?
I just got chills actually.
Yeah,
because I was like, that's so like human, like ego to like Western, like everything we were just talking about, to be like, we're the center of everything. Yeah,
and I went through a huge Vedic astrology phase and era and loved it, and just kind of ended back where I was, which was basically like Western astrology is my comfort zone. It is where I like to play.
Yeah,
and Vedic astrology is. I think you cannot dabble in Vedic astrology. You must aim to become a master. And I think with astrology, with Western astrology, there's definitely more levels. And I think it's also easier to explain to people, and there's much more just sort of accessibility, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love learning what I did, and yet I'm so much more grounded in Western, so that'll be my basis. But having that perspective is really interesting.
Which is, I mean, it's a little mini side tangent. It's why it's important to travel, learn about other cultures, have a diverse workplace. Like, we need to be telling different stories so that we can be exposed to different ideas and help expand how we look at, honestly, the same experience, which is the human experience, through different lenses.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all a version of ourselves.
Absolutely.
100%. That's all that is. I just think of the cycle.
I do too.
We're just always in some form of a cycle, and we just have to have the perseverance to keep going. I mean, when I tell my clients, when they're feeling like I've done all this work, I feel it's for nothing, I feel like nothing is going anywhere, I feel completely lost, I feel depressed, I tell everyone, that is the point at which you're right behind the breakthrough.
And that's the most uncomfortable place to be, though.
And that's why you have to push through. Exactly. Yeah. That's why it has to be the hardest part. Because if not, we'd be overwhelmed with breakthrough. But the breakthrough has to mean something. And that's the
epitome of what the leap of faith is. It's jumping over the chasm of the unknown.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where we are right now. We don't know where raising our voices, what's going to happen to us, but we have to take the leap of faith that this matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said.
The biggest theme that I saw in your chart is, it's actually so funny because, again, you mentioned a lot of these themes is like this conflict between play and power, not conform, but doing a good job, right? Like, I need to be productive. I need to be a productive and valuable member of society. And then on the other side being like, but I want to play, I want to be creative, I want to throw colorful dust in the air, and I want to run through it, and then I want to roll around a blank piece of paper and see what happens. Like, there's just this constant need to balance. And I actually catch myself. I don't even feel like it's a need to balance, but it's just a constant, maybe it's become more of a dance than it has been a fight. Right? I don't know at what point in your life or what eras you've been in where that's been more of a fight or more of a dance, but it's something that definitely you oscillate between in terms of like, I'm allowed to have two sides of me. And then other times where you feel that you're maybe not honoring your whole self by being one over the other, or making time for this and then not making time for that. So I don't know if maybe with age, you've been able to say like, no, just because I'm doing this now does not mean that I'm abandoning that. Just because I'm, focusing on this now does not make me lazy. It does not make me, right?
Yeah.
How does that feel for you?
That feels, yeah.
Yeah. It feels
and I like the way that you put it as far as like the resistance, and as I've gotten older, it becoming more of a dance, because it does feel that way. Like, it does feel like it's happened. It's become more, I still battle with this, but I think that either with acceptance and a lot of therapy and a lot of just deep self-work, there's, understanding the different parts of me and that they all need a voice. They all deserve a place at the table. If you're going now, I'm going into like IFS and stuff, but really like, they all need to be nurtured in different ways. And there's a time.
And when you say IFS, integrated family systems.
Yeah. Which I've started doing over the last couple of years, and it's been hugely impacted.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting balance, because I think you were talking about like the more rigid, like want to do. I'm like, is that the Capricorn?
There's Capricorn. There's also, you've got some sixth house.
Sixth Scorpio.
Stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say sixth house Scorpio.
House. Where is it? It's you've got
Saturn and Scorpio vibes.
Well, and your South Node.
Yeah.
Your South Node in retrograde was in the sixth house. Which, they say that our South Node, well, there's different philosophies around South and North Node. I think we like to romanticize that the South Node is like where we came from and what we mastered. And now we're like onto the North Node, and North Node is now and where we're headed for in this lifetime and what we're trying to. But South Node is actually like what we left, usually unfinished.
That's how I feel about it. It's like what we need to release or what we need to work through.
It's basically what we were in the process of working through when we died.
Oh, that's deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then North Node is more of like what we're insatiable for. So like the head of the dragon is when mythology is how like the nodes are seen, but like what we yearn for and how we yearn and stuff like that.
And also it's like where we are, and it's our sort of internal direction of like the life and where we're essentially headed towards. Yeah. It's like we can't help. We can go through the rib cage, we can go through here, we can go through there, and we can, like living in the armpit for a little while and whatever. But eventually, right, the form is this way, and we're moving into a direction which ends up in that North Node.
So retrograde, though, what does that mean exactly? Because I've never heard that I know what retrograde is, but like my South Node being in retrograde.
Yeah. So it just think conflict.
Yeah.
Honestly. But
Sure.
I'm a big fan of retrogrades in general
Yeah.
because retrograde to me, you just think of that RE. You focus, like retroactive, it's about going backwards and remembering, essentially, right? It's
Yeah.
about taking that time to marinate a little bit more and kind of like readjust.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's also possible because you're really close. You've got these other planets in here right next to you. So they're close enough to take them into consideration as well as part of the process. And it's your Saturn and Scorpio.
I know. Saturn, God.
Which almost tells me there's this, and in the sixth house, there's, which is like very Virgo vibe. So it's very like, which is funny because it was like, yeah, like it's very much like, how do I do the right thing, be the right person? And Virgo, we sometimes have a tendency to like romanticize this, like, oh, I need to be of service, the Virgo vibes, when really Virgo has very much of the same like Capricorn energy, which is like, no, it just is. It's like if someone falls, like, of course I'm going to pick them up.
Yeah.
Like that's Virgo vibes, right? It's like, we're not going to sit here and be like, oh my God. No, it's like, and oh my God, thank you. And no. Like, of course I was going to pick you up. Like, what the fuck? So that's very Virgo vibes. And what's interesting is that is right. So that almost house of duty or house of service or house of like doing the right thing, so to speak. You've got this Saturn, which is work, right? It's vocational. It's how we provide service. It's how we provide value, essentially, right? And then you've got it in Scorpio. Scorpio is, I like to say, it's like the taboo. It's like when the thing in mystery. It's like the things that, as a society, maybe we don't like to talk about, but they're very human. They're very part of us. So we think of death, we think of sex, we think of, we even think of play sometimes, right? And just like doing things that, well, that's a little sideways, right? That's sideways. We're going head on, right? So that's Scorpio vibes. It almost tells me that, and this could be a reach, but because of these being so close together, I almost wonder if you died working.
Well.
And I was actually thinking when I was going through this, and I'm getting chills right now. I was like, I wonder if she has a fear in this lifetime of death by work or dying while working, or that her work is going to kill her, or that she has this thing in her mind of like, I will not be one of those people that kills themselves for their work, or that my work will not be the end of me. Does this resonate at all?
I think less about like worried that my work won't kill me and more the shadow of a fear of not having enough legacy.
Oh, interesting.
And not having done enough.
Oh, wow.
And this sort of imposter syndrome comes
that's
out
fascinating
in that. Because like, I mean, the Saturnic energy is also like the disciplinary, and it's also like boundaries, and it's also like that tension of, it's the hard teacher. It's like, it's the one that's a planet that teaches you, and being in Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, in contrast to Saturn, which are like, not the best combination always.
Well, here's what's interesting, more specifically, is we also have your so your Saturn does have a negative aspect with your moon.
Oh.
With your feeling. But what's cool about your moon, and this was something I was going to say kind of side tail, was that your moon and your sun being the same sign, people probably feel like what you see is what you get. That you're a very honest person.
Yes.
That you're somebody who, like, if you feel something, that people can tell.
Yes.
People are going to know. And that,
I think so. And that's the feedback. That's the feedback I get, and I'm pretty blunt.
Because that's the only thing we can rely on, really, is like the feedback from others.
Yeah.
Because that's not always, sometimes we like to think of ourselves as a certain way, and then we're like, oh, I did.
Part of growing up is really realizing, oh, I'm not the things that I thought I was at all.
Literally. But what's interesting is that your rising is in Gemini. And Gemini, I like to think of Gemini as, well, endlessly curious, obviously. And Gemini, their end goal is they just like want to eat the world. You know, it's just like
Yes.
eat the world of information.
Yes.
Just like all consuming. Like, you know, that's why sometimes Geminis get a bad rap for maybe talking a lot or being really scatterbrained or, right? There's this energy of just like, oh my God, shut up. But
Yes.
really,
Yeah, no,
it's
true.
this end goal
Yeah.
of like, I'm so interested in
Yeah.
how else am I going to be able to find like what I need if I don't communicate it, if I don't research it, if I don't look for it. There's
Yeah.
just an insatiability when it comes around to information.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you, well, I mean, to me, it makes sense, right? Because I like meeting you and knowing you. I'm like, that all makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'm being biased or not, but also even like, you know, you have this podcast and the fact that you go on podcasts, right? There's this openness around information. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're a journalist as well?
I am. Yeah.
I am.
That is affirmative.
But which is, I think, like, I just think that balance is so important and probably really enriches your experience around that. Having Aquarius as your sun and as your moon, Aquarius is, you know, air signs, they touch everything. It's the only sign, it's the only element that touches all the other elements. And so air signs are, by definition, have a tendency to be a through line in some way, shape, or form. Aquarius wants to bring everything together. Aquarius is like a rebel with a cause, right? Aquarius goes, I know what the rules are, and the rules are like, they're good, right? Like we all want to, yeah, but like, how can we do better?
Yeah.
Right? Or like, there's this tension over here. Like, okay, how do we open that up? Right? And it's going, the ceiling is made of glass. I mean, that's not unbreakable.
Nothing's unbreakable.
Nothing's unbreakable.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in turn, and this is what's so special about Aquarius, is you want to bring people together to do that, because you understand that in order to make true impact and true movement, we all have to leverage our skills and what we're good at. It's kind of like where Capricorn is the more soloist. It's almost like the soloist Aquarian is a Capricorn, right?
I love that.
You know?
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, like,
because they have a lot of similarities.
There are a lot of very
probably Saturn as well. But
absolutely,
like, yeah.
absolutely. And there's a lot of respect between those two signs, because they're all about being productive and creating value. It's just that one is more the soloist and the other one is like, we can't do it alone, you know, and that's very Aquarian energy. Yeah. And I imagine that with your moon, you're not above. And where's your Mercury at? Your Mercury's in Capricorn.
Yeah, I got 3 in Cap.
Wow.
Neptune, Mercury, and Jupiter.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I wanted to talk about, specifically when it had to do with your wheel. Yeah. So a lot of people they look at the wheel and they're like, meh, right? Yeah. Because for obvious reasons, because it's a mess. But there's, I love to teach people about how to look at their wheel. So the best thing is you look at meridian and horizon, and you always will see where the meridian and the horizon. So there's the meridian, this like black line, and the horizon always, of course, across the middle. So that's essentially telling you where the sun was. Okay, so the sun was over here. Okay, and where, you know, so where's the sun, and also where it was at in the process of, you know, rising or setting. So something really interesting about looking at the wheel is that all these quadrants mean something, and more specifically, just like above the line, below the line, you know, like to the east and to the west, right? So when we look at above the horizon, we can think objectivity. Above the horizon is like what we see. It's tangible. It's how we interact with each other. It's, you know, there's this sense of concreteness above the horizon line. Below the horizon line is subjectivity. It's how we process. It's what something means to us. It's how we're interpreting something. So it's the intangible. It's very personal, right? Yeah. It's the us.
Which line is this? The
That's
horizontal?
the horizon.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, majority of my chart is above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting to see
what is
below,
yeah.
right? We see that Scorpio there, that Scorpio cluster.
And my rising.
Right. Exactly. So we have this sense of, okay, where might I be withholding? And is it working for me? Is it not working for me?
Mm.
Right? Choosing battles on my own and maybe not leveraging, when we're looking at our astrology chart, it's not to tell us what our path is. It's really to see what we're working with.
Absolutely.
It's just our tools. It's what's in a toolkit.
Yeah.
That's really it. Now, again, so above the horizon line, you've got a lot going on there. But the other thing you can see is there's this concentration.
It's a cluster.
Yeah. The meridian. So where is the sun in the sky? Is it rising? Is it setting?
Mm-hmm.
And when we look at the wheel, because as we said, Western astrology is the reverse, right? We're looking at it as if the earth is the center and we're looking out. So east is actually on the left and west is on the right. So that it's flipped that way. But
it would be. Of course it would mess with my neurodivergent brain.
I know. Believe me, I always have to tell you, even though I've done this 1,000 times, I'm literally still like, I just need to make sure, because 99% positive is not positive enough.
Yeah.
Like, I need to make sure. So what's cool about the meridian line is how is almost philosophical in nature about how we view, almost like, are we a glass half full person or a glass half empty? And that's super reductive. But think about when we see the sun rise, how can you not be hopeful? How can you not be in a state of everything's going to be okay? And when we see the sun set, there's this sense of what's done is done. What's done is done. What's interesting, and I'm sure this would probably come as a surprise maybe to people who don't know you well. Maybe you know this already, probably. I don't know. Yours is, if people meet you, they're probably like, oh, she's a glass half full. Absolutely. She's full of hope and just sparkles and rainbows. What's done is done.
Oh, yeah.
That is where your cluster is. So you're in,
except maybe that Pisces, a Pisces moment. I don't know about that, which is an interesting one, but yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting though is you've got your Venus and Mars right on the other side of that in the 10th house.
I know, which that's I want to hear your thoughts on that. But
really,
but continue your train of thought though, because
yeah. But I mean,
so people think the half glass full.
I wouldn't be surprised. If people, like, because of your energy and your sort of brightness, that people are like, oh, she's probably like very like go with the flow and very like, it'll be fine. It'll figure itself out. But not only is that not the case, it's also you've got all this Capricorn, the Sagittarius, this stuff that goes work, Aquarian energy, like all that stuff is going work. You need to work for what you want. You need to work for what you have.
Yeah.
We need to be extremely tangible. We need to be extremely outlining in our goals. Again, you oscillate between two worlds.
I do.
Right?
It's not about the end product. It's about the process. It's about being and living and creativity. Right. And then there's this other side that is.
Exactly. And I would say that that's your, like, this, and I wouldn't say this for everybody, but for you specifically, because of where your signs, your placements are, it's really about who you are when you work. When you're working, you are very diligent. You need these outlines. You need to know what the success look like. The point at which maybe it gets hard is when you go, is this a passion project for me?
Yeah.
Right? Is this something that means something deeper, that goes into this place of contemplation? Because as soon as it goes deep, you go deep.
Oh, yeah.
And you go, nothing is everything and everything is nothing.
Yes. It's an Ouroboros.
Yes, literally.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is like, as soon as you go right below, like that's where that's,
Yeah.
is this dragon just eating itself.
Yeah.
Now at the top though, you're like, nope, we're here. We're in a meeting. We're taking notes. We're understanding. We're seeing who's here. You're like, people love working with you.
It's the feedback I've gotten. But there's also that other side of me that wants to rebel against those structures.
Yes,
too.
you can't help it.
My career has not been typical. My career has very much been, I think a lot of that is also the 10th house being in Pisces as well. There's there's nothing about it that's normal.
Right.
There's nothing about it that has gone,
Yes.
X, Y, and Z. It has oscillated, it has flowed, it has been, I think my work has been deeply part of my spiritual journey as far as that's what my goal is. And when it's not serving something, I feel a restlessness and a dissatisfaction, which is why I don't last long in these situations where I'm not feeling like I'm doing something for deeper growth in myself or of service to humanity or like life on a greater level. So yeah, it's an interesting combination. People always by default think I'm an extrovert. And I don't consider myself an extrovert. I consider myself actually an ambivert once I realized that was a thing. I can have both.
I heard that in the Washington Post. I was like, okay.
Yeah. But, I'm very introverted too.
Yeah.
I value my alone time. I don't get enough of it these days, which is fine. I've learned to value it when I do, but I recharge alone. I need my meditation time. I need my journaling. I need the things that help me reset internally to fill my cup before I can show up for the world and anybody else. So my battery of being the bubbly outgoing has a shelf life.
It's very clear.
It's very clear. And when I'm done, you probably saw the night when we went out.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah.
I was 11 p.m. and I was like, I am so done.
Yeah.
I cannot talk anymore. I'm talked out. I need to go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I have a very, and I think especially now that I'm older and sober.
Yeah. 1,000%.
That is even clearer. Because when you're high and drinking and whatever else you're doing.
You're untethered.
Doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now you're disingenuously expanding your capacity.
That's such a good way to put it.
Yeah, you're not actually in your body and embodied with what your needs are at a very primal level.
Yeah.
So makes sense that for a while I really didn't know what I needed. I didn't know how to self-care. I didn't know how to, listen to myself and the signals that my body and my nervous system and all the things are giving me. My mind is always active, which makes sense. My chart. So for me, and my intuition is sharp too, but the intuition isn't always going to come from the mind. Right. And so I've been learning to listen to my body more and to the signals that my body gives me and the signals that my nervous system and my breath and just other things that are there that, force me in the brainy one, triple air, big three that I am to slow down. And that's why it's so important to have that time to myself because that's when I can get embodied and check in and be like, what do I need right now?
Yeah. 100%.
So
100%.
So yeah, I think part of what I love about astrology is understanding our charts to, like you said, know who we are on a deeper level and what our needs are, and also how we can show up in the world in our most authentic way. And that's been a really deep journey. And it's so interesting, growing up in the music industry and the entertainment industry at large with a famous dad in LA.
I've only heard very top level a couple sentences about this.
My dad's a 10-time Grammy winning musician.
Wow.
And he, I grew up basically a spotlight adjacent.
Right.
And so there was this and I love my dad. My dad and I have a beautiful relationship and I admired him. But it was complex because for me, there was this the idea that to win at life, to be successful, to be worthy, that I needed to emulate that I needed to be that. Now, there's not much in my chart that's like be in the spotlight. There's not a lot of Leo. There's not a lot of fire in general. Like there's not, you know what I mean?
I mean, I would argue.
Okay, I want to hear. I want to hear your argument. But and I think it's a different kind of spotlight.
Yeah.
It's a different kind, and
especially the spotlight specifically that became your framework for what is spotlight.
Exactly, and the pressure that went into that.
Yeah,
and the bar that was created, where it was just like, it's, you know, it's not just do a good job and have a career or do this. It's like, no, if you're not also getting 10 Grammys,
right?
Because I was a musician for a long time.
Oh wow.
Then what's the point?
Right.
You know, if you're not. You can't just be a journalist. You have to write for the best publications.
Right. Which you do and have.
Yes, but and I'm ambitious.
New York Times, y'all.
But but it's like if you write a book, it has to be a New York Times bestselling book, or what's the point? You know what I mean? If it's like there's like the level of pressure and ambition that has come, I think, with my upbringing. And the interesting thing is, it's like my parents were never pushy about it.
Yeah.
They wanted, they were like, we want you to be.
No, you guys were perfectly paired. Honestly, looking at your chart, these parents that basically said, like, you can do a lot.
Yeah, the world's yours, but we love you. I had a foundation of love from them.
Absolutely.
And it was a wonderful example. And it was also like to see it be real and made it like you should be able to do this too.
Right.
To that level.
Right.
You know, and
what was that like for you?
It was hard.
Yeah.
You know, it was also hard because like I mentioned before, growing up with a learning disability and with like as a neurodivergent child, like I struggled so much.
Yes.
You know, after my diagnosis, I think that was like midway through the 4th grade. Left the school that I was at, which was a Waldorf school, which was wonderful for like creativity and nurturing. And I owe so much of that experience for other parts of myself. But I was definitely like paired with a teacher who wasn't prepared to support the kids with ADHD.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, you know, and so there was a lot of neglect as far as like academic growth and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, between that time, midway through 4th grade and into 6th grade, I went to 4 different schools in a year and a half.
Wow.
To get back on track to normalcy.
That's wild.
You know, and so there was that. And in that time period, I did neurofeedback therapy to help with my dyslexia and the ADHD because my parents didn't want to put me on meds. But it was both facing cultural norms that I didn't understand, you know, pop culture and public school and normie kids and all this stuff and being cool, all of this. I was kind of like in a bubble in my like sort of hippie school, only child with 2 parents who I spent majority of my first 10 years leaving to go on tour with my dad around the world for stints at a time. Very unique upbringing, very privileged in a lot of ways. Like I'm so grateful for the experiences that I had like in life. But to then take all of that and then put me in a box.
Drop you.
In a box of like conform. And I was told so many times in so many different ways that I was stupid.
Wow.
I was told literally to my face in front of my parent, well, like, it was like I wasn't even there, but I was there. And the principal or teacher was telling my parents, she'll never amount to anything academically.
Wow.
And so.
Oh my God.
It crushed me, but there is also, and it's interesting, whatever this is in my chart, there was a fire in me that was like, I am not going to be that. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah. That's the Aquarius, honestly.
Yeah, maybe. And I
recognize, but I also know this isn't the only way.
Exactly. So I signed up for a path that was somewhat conforming to the system of academia. I wanted to get straight A's.
You wanted to prove them wrong.
I wanted to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And I did, you know, I went from like failing and flunking everything. And, you know, when I first learned what grades and tests and words, you know, all of that.
Yeah.
To then by like, you know, end of middle school, straight A's. And then by the end of high school, I was like 4.2 GPA and I went to UC Berkeley. Even when like my high school counselor was like, still, you're not going to probably get in because of the neurodivergence, my test taking anxiety was off the roof. So I would be like the best top in the class and then I failed the SATs twice.
Oh, wow.
And I failed my AP exams, even though I was the top in the class.
Wow.
to show the like.
Yes.
And that was like, so I've had a big failure voice
Yeah.
in my head, and not to fail is like in my parts work that I've been doing a lot of healing around that part.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I did notice is like, it was funny. And of course there you have multiple, you, even though you don't have signs in certain houses,
Yeah.
what's cool is these houses and what rules them,
Mhm.
you have placements.
For sure. Yeah.
So for instance, second house is ruled by Taurus.
Mhm.
Your north node is Taurus. Your fourth house,
Wait, second house is Taurus, or is it
it's ruled by Taurus.
ruled by Taurus?
So each house has kind of like a ruler. So like for instance, sixth house, that's why I say like Virgo vibes.
Oh, so the houses are
Yeah.
aligned to a sign.
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, so like the house, each planet, sign, house,
Mhm.
they have like their happy place, so to
Interesting.
speak. Yeah, where they really like, it's not complement, it is equal energies and vibes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So so your second house ruled by Taurus,
Mm,
your north node is in Taurus.
right.
So you have so you're complementing, even though you don't have anything in that house per se,
Mhm.
you still have that energy. And ultimately what we really want
Mhm.
in our astrological chart is we want balance.
For
We
sure.
want to be able to access different parts of ourselves and have sort of a more diverse toolkit. Your fourth house, and this is just like in passing. So in your fourth house is like friends, right? And community, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it'd be wild to think that you don't have anything, but it's ruled by Aquarius,
Mm.
and
Interesting.
you have
A lot of action in
yes,
Aquarius.
exactly.
So interesting.
So even though there are houses you don't have that, it's interesting how you do have these tools. It's almost like even just hearing you speak, it's this idea, and I think a lot of that is like the human journey as well. It's like I realizing like this is what I'm working with, but then realizing the deeper capacity of what you're working with,
Mm-hmm.
right? And being able to tap into more of that.
Mm.
It's funny because when you talk about legacy,
Mm-hmm.
that's very Taurus. That's very
Mm.
Taurus energy. Taurus is like family, home, stability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's which is so interesting because when you talked about legacy, and I was like, put a pin in it, but that's where ultimately you land, which is in your 12th house. When we talk about that chasm that we need to overcome, right?
The inner world.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, there's almost this sense of like, do I deserve? Am I allowed?
Yeah.
Is it all for naught?
Yeah.
Right? It's classic when you're at that point in the life cycle of a journey where you do need to take a leap of faith for yourself, but will you and are you?
Mm.
Because once you take the leap of faith, you start a new chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to take the leap of faith first to end out the cycle.
Yeah.
To leap away from it. So being in your 12th house is this idea of like, so that combined with it being in this vibrational sort of aura with death, and that you might have died working, right, towards legacy, right? There's this, so maybe that's what it is. It's the fear of leaving behind.
Not to have done enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That resonates. And in a way, it's being killed. It's still being whooped by work, or the idea of legacy, or the idea of purpose.
Right. You just don't have a fear of it.
I do, though.
Yeah.
I'm fear of what exactly? Like fear
Right,
of
like anything, like fear that, oh, well, I mean, with that question, I would say fear that that you follow the wrong legacy, or you follow the wrong path. You work all this time into creating something, and then it doesn't amount to legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, that. I think there's even a deeper wound there. It's a wound of fear of being forgotten. Fear of, which delves into fear of being abandoned, fear of, and
Right. And Taurus is family.
yeah, absolutely. And I have a lot, my parents and I are like so close.
Yeah.
And, the cliche, but totally not the cliche because it's true, is like when the deeper the love,
Yeah.
the deeper the chasm of the potential of losing that. So, and,
Yeah,
I did grow up with
powerful.
my dad leaving a lot. Even though I did go on tour with him and was with him a lot, there was
Yeah.
also him having to leave to go
Of course.
be and do his thing and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And
Presence
so,
was unstable. Presence.
yes,
But his love was
his love was always
always,
stable, but
yeah.
presence was unstable.
Mhm.
And so but it's interesting. I mean, I did a little bit, I had a psychic reading,
Mhm.
and it wasn't supposed to be a past life regression, but she does that. But then she got something, and she
Yeah.
gave me like a glimpse of something she got. And I was like, that feels so spot on, because it really linked to why sometimes I've struggled with these feelings of abandonment
Mhm.
and fear around losing those. Because, and I think the being forgotten is such the underbelly of the more ego outward side of legacy.
Mhm.
And so why I, compared to so many people, had a really beautiful, blessed childhood and loving parents and all that.
Sure.
Why have I carried this such a deep wound that's impacted me in so many parts of my life, in my career, in relationships that I chose, and so many things, and so it did answer some of that. And then my therapist was like, yes, and let's bring it into this life as well. And I love her.
Love a good therapist.
Yeah. But no, and so there's
willing to hear it all.
yeah. And there's so many reasons why there's that struggle even now. And some of it even goes into, a lot of it goes into neurodivergence too. The sensitivity, the inability to sort of center oneself, or the struggle with that. So yeah, I think that when I really peel the onion, there is so much more depth around this attachment to legacy and this idea of purpose, which I don't like this. I think it's a very patriarchal idea, which I much prefer the idea of destiny or karma, which feels very much more spiritually grounded. But yeah, so I think
you can have both.
I think you can have both. Yeah. I think we just get so obsessed with this idea of purpose only.
It's also I would have you gently remind yourself of healthy ego.
Oh yeah, there's definitely healthy ego,
in the sense that, because you can have both, right? So spirituality sometimes, in some circles, they talk about death of the ego, right? Death of the ego.
Yeah, no,
when
you
in
can't
reality,
kill your ego.
You can't kill your ego. We're all
it's a part of
right. We're all
part of us.
We're all dots in a beautiful mosaic.
Yeah,
and I think that there is purpose that which, and I feel like purpose is what working with is what we're good at. That's our purpose is just already within ourselves.
Yeah.
And then destiny is, how are we going to navigate with that?
Interesting. I almost see it as the opposite.
Ooh.
I see deestiny as our deeper spiritual calling of our life's work on the internal. And that purpose is the guise in which that can be manifested. So and then neither is right or wrong. It's interpretation. Yeah. But that purpose is, it's words, it's semantics. But purpose is the how we're going to do it.
Yes.
In a way, it's the rising sign.
Right.
Which is the how we're going to fulfill the life's purpose or deeper destiny of the sun, and then the inner needs of the moon, on the internal, more day-to-day fulfillment.
Yes.
But yeah, so maybe next time we do an episode, I'll give you a reading with the
I
archetypes.
would love it.
Yeah, and we can dig into that. That's my my specialty.
Next time we can do readings for each other.
I would love that. I would love to hear your interpretation of tarot and that would be.
I'll show you
cool.
my deck. And I'll
show you my deck and you show me yours.
Okay.
I've got big deck energy.
Yeah, you do, because that's a big deck.
It's a very big deck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for being here. I mean, it's so funny because literally our mutual friend just was you two need to meet.
Yep.
And somehow we just like trusted that.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was like,
immediately, I see you go. Yeah, like 100%.
literally,
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to go do this thing. We're going to support our
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
We're going to like tit for tat.
Yeah.
But we're going to come together.
Yeah.
And this is going to be amazing.
I'm so glad.
I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you for having
coming.
me. This has been so much fun.
Yes, I can't wait to do this again.
Me too.
You want to go see my deck?
Yeah, I want to go see your deck. Can I pee first?
Yes.